Good afternoon, everyone. You may or may not know who you are looking at. Based on the horn-rimmed glasses, you might think you're looking at a communist. You would be very, very wrong. You shall be meeting Joe Neerman, Good Logic, covering the P. Diddy trial, also known as Sean Combs, also known as Puff Daddy, also known as one freaky deaky pervert. I present to you Good Logic.
Good morning. I am Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic, right outside the Southern District of New York. Inside, Sean Combs, aka Diddy, faces 5 criminal charges, which will likely determine the future of the rest of his life. First charge for racketeering, which has a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. Additionally, he has 2 charges for sex trafficking by force, which carry a minimum penalty of 15 years, maximum of life. Finally, he faces 2 additional charges for transportation for purposes of prostitution, which carry a maximum of 10 years apiece. This is day 1. I expect to be here every day of the trial, reporting after the morning break and as well when we wrap up for the day, dropping 2 videos a day, letting you know as an attorney, a New York litigator inside the courtroom, how is the prosecution doing? How is the defense doing? And is the judge being fair? I'll let you know how things are looking for Diddy throughout this trial. I hope you'll stick around. Follow, like, and subscribe, and hit that bell.
One thing you'll notice about Good Logic reporting from the streets of New York, there's never a video that he puts out that doesn't have sirens in the background. I mean, it's Gotham City. It's Gotham City. That is Joe Neerman, Good Logic. I'm going to give everybody the link so you can go follow him and get the updates, because I will be keeping track of the P. Diddy trial, but I will be keeping track of the P. Diddy trial through the likes of Joe Neerman and other trusted sources who are covering it. I suspect, if I'm not mistaken, Inner City Press is also covering it. I will actually also go and follow people who I distrust to hear what they are saying about it, but I trust and like Joe Neerman, Good Logic. On Twitter, he is at The Following Pro, and I figured we'd start today's shows off with a light subject, like sex trafficking and P. Diddy and freak-offs and oil lube parties, and oh my goodness, the stories of what's coming out of this trial, and they're not even through opening arguments yet. I'm glad that I have a number of neuroses, one of which are STDs. I don't think I would have been promiscuous even if I didn't have a morbid fear of STDs, but I do. And it keeps you safe. It keeps you not murdered by your spouse. It keeps your schmeckle in your pants, and it makes for, generally speaking, healthier family living. I would have lasted about, not 5 seconds at a freak-off, I would have lasted about 5 seconds at an event where there was a freak-off within the realm of possibility. Listening to what the hell goes on at these, I don't even say rapper parties, at Hollywood, music, degenerate industry parties, it makes you want to puke. You feel dirty vicariously just by listening to it. Puff Daddy is facing charges for sex trafficking, racketeering, and whatever else Joe Neerman said in his summary. And we know the facts. We know that there was an alleged extortion ring, an alleged trafficking ring, an alleged, I don't even think it's an alleged actually, freak-offs where they would have these drug-fueled, alcohol-fueled sex parties where they had so much baby oil that it was industrial quantities of baby oil. And they literally called it freak-offs, where P. Diddy, and now you go back and you watch all of his art and you say, how much of his art was reflecting life and how much of his life was reflecting art? Get into the Greek. When P. Diddy is talking about having the mind F-U-C-K. And he was a degenerate in the movie, Get Him to the Greek. And now you realize in retrospect, he was a degenerate in real life. He's facing these charges that all stems from the fact that this video of him beating his ex-girlfriend in a hotel, the video was leaked. I forget exactly the context of how it was released. The video broke and all shit broke loose with P. Diddy. And then the stories of abuse, beatings, sex parties, extortion, coercion, sex trafficking started to break. And then you go back and you look at him fondling and groping Justin Bieber, talking about spending days with him, doing God knows what. It all starts to make sense in retrospect. And as Kierkegaard said, life can only be understood backwards, yet it must be lived forwards. Life can only be understood backwards, yet it must be lived forwards. So the trial starts today, and it's opening arguments, and I am absorbing through osmosis Joe Neerman's assessment of it because he summarized opening arguments. And when your opening arguments in defense are, you're going to see a video of P. Diddy beating the shit out of his ex-girlfriend, but don't equate that to sex trafficking. You're going to see a video of him slapping the ever-loving piss out of a woman in the in the lobby of a hotel. But that's only because P. Diddy might be an abusive boyfriend. He might, get violent when he gets jealous and intoxicated. But don't confound that with sex trafficking. When that's your defense, you are screwed. So I'm predicting now, because I don't know if there's a market for it, and I'm going to go look. If there's a market for it, depending on the odds, not having heard the evidence in defense, just based on the opening statements, when your opening statement in defense is he might get violent when he gets drunk or jealous, he might be an abusive piece of shit, but he's not a sex trafficker, you are up shit creek without a paddle. You're at a freaky deaky freak off without the oil. And that's where P. Diddy is right now. So prosecution's starting off. They got two key witnesses. It's Cassie, who is his ex-girlfriend. She's going to be named. And another one named Jane, who I don't know if she's going to be named. And I presume it's a Jane Doe. Who are the two victims? The prosecution is going to argue extortion, coercion. Apparently P. Diddy had videos of adult sex workers urinating in the mouth of Cassie, which he recorded and then was using as extortion blackmail material to ensure that Cassie stayed loyal, stayed quiet, stayed at the freaky deaky parties. Between urinating in the mouth and defecating in the mouth, I guess urinating in the mouth is definitely the lesser of the two evils. I am told scientifically that urine is sterile for the first 45 minutes, and that is only because I watched that. Who's the dude who tells you how to survive in the wild? And for whatever the reason, he immediately reverts to drinking animal piss or squeezing water out of horse poop. What's his name? Bear Grylls. I'm seeing the chat is saying gross. It is gross. That being said, between urine in the mouth and poo-poo in the mouth, that is the definite one to opt for if you, if you only have two choices. Prosecution's arguing this was all coercion, blackmail, extortion that was not voluntary. Defense is going to argue that these women, much like the women with Harvey Weinstein, knew what they were getting into, were doing it for fame, money, whatever, and that's it. I haven't seen part 2 of today. That was only what Neerman, Joe, Good Logic summarized for part 1. And for those of you who didn't want to know this and don't care to know it, sorry. Knowledge is the gift that you can't give back. So that's what's up with P. Diddy, peeps. Stay home. Don't go out at night. Nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. Keep your schmeckle in your pants. Don't, what do they say? There's a few expressions about not dipping your pen in company ink and also not dipping your pen in crazy ink. I'm not sure if the second one is even a thing, but if I can offer one word of advice to the young men and women out there, more so the young men who might want to live a life of alpha male and promiscuity, don't do it. There are some bridges that you can't cross back. They are one-way bridges to the next level, and you can't necessarily jump down from that. Keep your schmeckle in your pants, get married, stay married. My first mentor-in-law said, if you want to stay rich, don't get divorced. You want to not get divorced? You maximize your odds by keeping your schmeckle in your pants, not going to parties after 10 o'clock, not going to parties without your wife, and by and large living a more boring life, which will pay dividends down the line when you don't find yourself on camera at a P. Diddy freak off. All right, that's the P. Diddy update, and that's all we need to know about that.